Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully complete one total code application for our classes, right? So here we created some of the APIs, and with these APIs we get all the data, we post some of the data, we get a specific ID data, and also we delete this data, right? So now friend, I want to do the same things for our another part. So I want to create another code application for this student subject. Okay, so now let's do that work. First of all, we have to create all that our essential file. Like we have to create one of the migrations table, we have to create one of the model and the controller. So first of all, I want to create it. So procedure will be just like that same before. I want to create one of the model first as a PHP artisan, and then make model, and I name it as a subject. Okay, subject. So this type of one of the model I want to create, and also I want to create another migrations table that will be -m. Now click as a enter. So now it will be created two of this file. So it will be created one of the model, and also it's created one of the migrations table. So now I want to do, first of all, I want to work in our migrations table. So right now we don't need this. Here also we don't need this. So now if you go to our migrations table, that means in our database there is a migration, and that is our subject, right? So into the subject I want to take one of the another field. Here I want to take three field. First of all, that will be as a ID, and then I want to take another as a, or I have already created on the class, I name it as a class ID. Okay, class underscore ID, and then I take another field as a subject name, subject underscore name, and then the subject code, subject underscore code. So this type of three of this field I simply take, and for the subject name I name it as a string. Our type will be as a string type, and also subject code I make it as a string type. Okay, and for the class ID, so that will be one of the ID, I make it as an integer. Okay, I make it as an integer. For education purpose, I'm actually using this type of one of the things. And now also we have to update our model. So I have also created another model. If you go to our model folder, and you can see that is our model name as a subject. So if you want to pass make these things as a fillable, you can actually do the things two way. Like here you have to write down as a PHP, there is a protected fillable, and then after that you have to make it as a protected fillable, and after that protected fillable also here we have to add the three of this field as a class ID. Okay, I just simply added that class ID, and then you have to add that another one as a here, there is a subject name and the subject code, right friend? So they have the another option, you can also manage these things like that way. Right now here we don't need to, I don't want to use that as a protected fillable, and here I don't want to add that a specific all that our field. So they have the another function as a protected, I make it as a protect. Okay, protected, and protected by default one of the function as a guarded. So here you can actually use it as a guarded. Okay, guarded. So protected guarded when you use it, and that is, first of all I want to make it as empty. Okay, so that means right now here we don't need to pass. So that means right now here we don't need to pass individual all the data. So with this protected guarded, right now all that our field will be as a protected. That means that will be as a fillable. So you can actually use that things like that way as a protected fillable, and here you have to pass a specific all that your field data, rather than if you use it as a protected guarded. So with this protected guarded, right now all that our field, okay, all that our field will be as a protected, as a fillable. So that's all. So right now I'm done to use it. I don't want to use this individual all that field. So here which is fine. So that is our subject. I make this all that field is now protected, fillable. Now click the save all, and that is our all that field. So now I'm done to migrate it. So if you want to migrate, that will be as a PHP artisan, and then the migrate, right? PHP artisan migrate. Now click as a enter. Now you can see our migrations table is now successfully created. So now if you go to our database, and now there should be another one. You can see there is another one as a subject, and into the subject there is a class ID, the subject name, and then subject code. So first of all here I want to complete our insert portion. So our procedure will be just like that same friend. If you well understand our previous part, that will be very easy. Better I copy it. Okay, I copy total this, because here I also want to create another code application. So that will be for the subject. Okay, that will be for the subject, and for the subject I also want to create another controller. I want to create another controller as a PHP artisan, and then make controller. And then in our API folder, I want to create another our controller name as a subject controller. Okay, so this type of one of the controller now I want to create. Perfect, our controller created successful. So first of all, here we have to load it. I want to load it, that is in our API, and then our controller name in our API folder. Now I have created a new controller as a subject controller. I copy it, so that will be as a subject controller, right? Like first of all, I want to insert this data. So into the insert, our method will be obviously one of the post method, and then I want to do our controller name right now, that will be as a subject controller. So I want to complete first of all the store, okay, and our URL I name it as a subject. So subject, and then our subject is store, and in our subject controller now I want to create the same name. You can actually, depends on you. If you want to change it, you can change it. Right now it's totally fine. So now I want to create this method in our this subject controller. So now go to our subject controller. So into the subject controller here, I name it as a public, and then function. So as I told you friend, if you understand our previous part, that will be very easy. So I simply AND it, so that will be our AND method. Okay, that will be as a AND method. Okay, that will be as a AND method. So that is one of the post method, right? So that is one of the post type. So now here also you have to pass that as a request, and then the $request. So I pass as a request and the $request. So friend, here every part I have already covered it in. If you go to our CRUD, that means our S class controller, here right now I want to actually copy everything from here, because that is actually the same things you can see, but I copy it. So now this method name, that is in our subject, that is a subject controller, here I want to pass it. So first of all, I want to add some of the validation here. So you can also add that multiple validation as per your demand. Like here, I take another one, I copy it and I paste it. And here, when you use the two, then you have to use that as a comma. Okay. So now our field name, I name it as a, better right now, we don't need this. That is our subject controller. If you go to our database, so that is all that our field. If you go to that structure, like as a client ID, so there is a class ID. So now this class ID I want to make it as a only required. Okay, so this field will be as a required. Great. And then another one will be as a subject name. I want to make it as a required. It should be unique in our which table. Here also we have to pass our table name. So our table name right now as a subject. So I copy it, so that will be as a subject. Right? I hope every line is very clear. And also our maximum character limit will be as a 25, which is totally fine. And then also we have to load that model. So before I have actually used that our S class model. So now I better copy and paste it. So now our model name is what? Our model name is the subject model, right? So now we have to take it, and also I make it as a protected guided, which is totally fine. So our model name will be as a subject. So now with this model, we are able to do everything in our this table, right? So now great. So now that will be our model name. Sorry. So that is our S class, right? So better I want to click as a Control Z. So now that is actually in our subject controller. So here into the subject controller, I want to update this our model name. Okay, so now for the subject, I have created one of the models. So that is our subject model. Now into the subject model, with the subject model, I want to insert this data. So they have the 3 field. Better I copy it and I take 2 and then 3, right? So first of all, our field name as a class ID. Okay, I make it as a class ID, and our requested field name, I also want to do the same name as a class ID. Okay, so that is our first one. And then another data I want to insert as a subject name. I copy it. So that will be another one as a subject name. Our requested field name, I name it as a subject name. And then the subject code. Okay, I copy it, and also that will be as a subject code. I make it as a subject code. Perfect. And when it will be inserted, this all that our field data in our subject with the subject, when it will be inserted, then it will be return response one of the message as a student subject. Okay, subject inserted successful. So friend, that's all you have to do. I hope every part is very clear. How much easy it is, you can see. I'm actually want to create some of the code application for make these things very clear. Okay, so here I hope you already understand that part. So if you understand that my previous one, that will rest of this will be very easy. But for your exercise, I want to actually create some of the CRUD application, then that will be very much helpful, because right now that is all that our main core functionality. Later you will actually apply everything in our project. Okay, so now that is perfect. Now let's check this out. If you want to do that work, if you want to insert it, so that will be the post method. Our URL will be as a subject store. Right now I want to go to our postman, so that is our URL. So here I want to use it after that API, then the subject store. Remember, and our method will be obviously on the post method. And also in our header, into the header I have already added that accept as a application JSON, content type as a application JSON. And in our body, into the body right now, all that our field here we have to add like as a our field name as a client ID. So I name it as a client ID, and also here you can see I have already added that inside it should be inserted our class ID, and then our requested ID, and then class subject name, and then subject code. So now there is a class ID, and then I want to take that as a subject name. So that will be as a subject name. I copy it, so that is the subject name, and then the subject code. Okay, I copy it, so that will be as a subject code. Great. So now I want to insert some of the data, like as a class ID I make it as a 101. Okay, class ID will be as 101. Subject code I want to make it as a as a English. Okay, I name it as English, and subject code, and code I make it as a 101. Okay, or rather than class ID before, if you go before for the class ID, I have also inserted another things, but I want to check it. That is a subject. So it doesn't matter, but right now I'm actually try to make the things appropriate, like as a class ID 1. Okay, class ID 1 means that is a class 1, so I want to use that one ID, so that will be as only one ID. Okay, perfect. So now if everything okay, now that should be inserted this data, and it should be return response our which message. It should be return response our subject student subject inserted successful. So now I want to click as a save all. You can see I didn't save it, so make that sure you save all. And now I want to hit our this URL. Now click as a send. Yes, you can see the student subject inserted successful. If you go to our database, so there is a subject table, go to the browse. Yes, there is ID1, class ID1, subject as a English, and then subject code I use it as a 101. Okay friend, so now I want to insert another one, like as a class ID I make it as a 2 maybe I delete it, right? So into the 2, yes, I delete it, so I make it as a 3. I make it as a 3 class ID, and then subject name I make it as a Hindi. Okay, Hindi, and then subject code I make it as a 2. Perfect. So now let's create. Now click as a send. Yes, subject student subject inserted successful. Now that should be the another data. Now click as a browse. Yes, now in another data. I also want to take another one for the 3. Okay, for the class ID 3 I make it as a another one. And also if you want to check it, like our validation, I want to check it, like I make it as a empty. Now click as a send. Yes, you can see it's now showing that validation, that is a class ID field is required. So here I have already added some of the validation that will be as a required, and class name, this will be unique in our subjects table, right? And you can see it's also show another validation, the subject name has been already taken because I have already inserted this Hindi. Perfect. So now I want to use it another one. I make it as a 3, and subject name I make it as a math. Okay, math, and that what the math code will be as a 103. Okay, 103. That's all. Now click as a send. Yes, student subject inserted successful. Now go there. Yeah, 3, and there is a class ID 3, the math, and then subject code. Perfect. which is totally fine. So now if you want to get this data, what exactly you have to do? Suppose it will be very easy. So you can see that is our URL I want to do, and to use that one of the URL as a subject. That will be one of the get method in our controller as a subject controller. So into the subject controller, now I want to create another method as the index. You can actually change it rather than it's okay. I copy it, and then in our subject controller, go to the subject controller here. After this, I name it as a public, and then function, and then our method. Okay, so that is our method. So into this method, that will be just like our S class. You can actually copy it from here, but I copy it, and then in our index I paste it. Okay, so only I want to take another variable. I name it as a subject. And then our model name right now as a subject, right? Because that is actually our different table. So with this subject, I want to get all the latest data and return response with the JSON with the subject. So now I simply pass it. Okay, friend, I hope everything is very clear. Now click as a save all. Now I want to hit our this URL as a subject, copy it. Then if you go to that our URL, I want after that API, I paste it. So that is one of the get method, API subject. Now click as a send. Yes, you can see it's perfectly get a 1, the 2 ID, and then the 3 ID. Okay, that means it's perfectly work everything is working perfect. So here when you actually hit this URL, it automatically that will be redirected to our this subject controller, and that is the index method. So into this index method, it will get this data. Okay, perfect. So next video I also want to do and to complete that edit or delete, which I have already covered in our S class. So that friend, that will be just like that same. Okay, so better I want to continue this process. In our next video I will complete this edit or update and the delete portions also. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.